Welcome to Nothing Finer Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Beach, along with Austin Allen. Austin, it's the talking season. Media Day is coming up. About another month left of preseason. So I want to, guess we do like everybody else is doing. We're going to make us not really a list, but we're going to list a breakout player, one each, and I'm going to get us started. I'm going to go on the defensive side of the football. Inside linebacker, Monty Rice. I think he's destined for a great season. I think he's looking, he had injuries his freshman year a little bit, and then last year he had that freak injury with UMass. Got hurt in pregame. He's supposed to be a captain in that game. Comes out, twists his ankle, I believe. Then he had another nagging injury that season. Kept him out of a game. But his stats, I mean, they're really good. And I'm not saying he's going to have a good season coming up because that's pretty obvious. But I'm thinking that man's about to have him a Roquan-type season. He's going to get him a Butkus, and he's going to lead us back to the playoffs. And hopefully he'll lead us to where we're hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. We're looking at Roquan's stats. I was looking at him from 2015 when he had 20 tackles. He played in 10 games. Monty played in 8 games in his freshman year. Came away with 22 tackles. Then last season, Monty had 59 tackles and played in 9 games, so he did have an improvement.
Yeah, pretty large improvement.
Yeah, well, Roquan had a big jump, but he played in 3 more games than he played the year before.
Right.
So he went from 20 tackles to 95 tackles. Then his junior year, we all know 2017, the magical year we had 2 seasons ago, he jumped from 95 tackles to 137 tackles. Now, I'm thinking Monty, I'm going to say he is going to make that jump from a 59 tackle season last year. He's going to stay healthy, and he's going to make that jump to about the 120, 130 tackles this season, and he's going to win the Butkus Award.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think the play of the D-line is going to definitely help him. If the D-line's able to make a jump and Jordan Davis can really clog up some eat up some men, and it's really going to open up things for him to be able to flow sideline to sideline or north and south and really be a machine out there.
Yeah, I'm looking, he's going to have that defensive line's going to be better. So I'm thinking they're going to eat the blocks. He's going to get these lanes opened up and get to the quarterback, get to the running back.
Right.
Because it's all about TFL and sacks. If you can get those going, Roquan went his sophomore and freshman year, Roquan didn't have a sack registered.
Right.
Then he comes out his junior year, he gets 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
So he made that jump. And that's what I'm thinking Monty's going to make that leap up where he's going to make these plays in the backfield. The other thing going for him is he's going to have Tay Crowder, who I think is going to play with him. Very smart player. And he's also going to have the Nakobe Deans pushing him. He's going to have the Quay Walkers pushing him. He's going to have these young guys where he can't slack off or he'll fall off the football field and somebody else will slide in a spot. So he's going to stay pushing it, and it's going to push him to this incredible season I feel he's going to have.
Yeah, I could feel that. I think what I want to see more from Monty is him moving from sideline to sideline. I think that was something that Roquan did really well, super fast, super quick. And we want to see that. And once the season gets going and you get some tape on Monty and he is playing like that, a lot of teams are going to start pushing stuff outside, and that's just going to open things up for the other linebackers. So I think it's really going to, it's a pick your poison type thing with Georgia's defense this year. You want to go up and run up against Jordan Davis and then run into Monty Rice, or do you want to go outside and have to fight off presumably a Nolan Smith or, these guys? So I think it's really a double-edged sword, and the better Monty plays, the better the outside will feed off of him.
Oh, absolutely. I think on the outside you got Azeez Alajari, you got Adam Anderson, you got Brenton Cox, you touched on Nolan Smith coming in as a true freshman. We got the dudes on the outside. We got the bodies on the outside that are incredible talents. We got the middle with this defensive line where we want it to be. With this inside linebacker play, and plus, I'm going to go out and say our offense is going to be off the charts. We're going to put teams in early holes. We're going to put them in passing downs, and that's when we can just tell Monty, pin your ears back, go get the quarterback. And I think that's what's going to push him. And, yeah, it is a highlight kind of season. When you get them wide open sacks, when you get them hits on the court. You look at Roquan, one of the best plays he had in 17 was a quarterback hurry against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
But it was that hit that got on all the channels, that wide open. Now, he got that sack in the SEC championship game. I think that sealed the deal. He had Jared Stidham one-on-one and just buried him right on the middle of the SEC logo in the championship. So I'm thinking that's what's going to put Monty in that position of our offense is going to score points. So we're going to get these 14, 10-point leads, and teams aren't going to want to fall behind our offense, and we could pin the ears back and go get the quarterback. And that's where Monty's going to excel, and that's what's going to lead to him winning the Butkus Award, which would be incredible for Georgia when you look at the Butkus Award, a Thorpe Award, then maybe get another Butkus this season. That'd just be incredible for a guy, Kirby Smart, who people say he can't develop talent, and now you're looking at a team who I think we're going to win in a third year in a row. We're going to get a big-time defensive award.
Yeah. Well, Rick, I'm going to flip it to the other side. I'm going to go on offense. I think Tyler Simmons is going to be probably one of the most valuable players on the offensive side. A lot of people underrated him. Obviously he hasn't got the chances really like the Holloman's got and the Ridley's got. And, you look at a guy like Terry Godwin. When he got here, nobody knew who Terry Godwin was, but he stayed and he kept working. And now, to me, he'll be a legendary UGA receiver for eternity now. So I can see the same kind of thing happening with Tyler, just based off his speed and the different ways you can deliver him the ball. You can give it to him on a jet sweep. You can, he's real good yards after catch. He only had 9 catches last year for 138 yards, averaging 15 and a half yards a catch, basically, which means, he catches the ball and he cuts upfield. And, he had a big play against Auburn. And I think there's a bit of a sleeper effect where teams are going to be trying to scheme up to stop D-Rob, and they're going to be trying to stop Cager. And, they're going to be worried about these young guns, Matt Landers and George Pickens. And while all that's happening, Jake is going to take, Jake's a point guard, basically. He's going to distribute the ball. And Tyler's going to be open a lot because they're going to be putting a lot of dudes on these bigger bodies. So it's going to be kind of like a Terry Godwin situation where he's going to end up open in between the zone, and Jake's going to dump it off to him. And we've seen, if you watch the film, he's going to make something happen when he catches the ball. And also on those attempts where the ball does get thrown his way, he does not drop the ball. He has sure hands, and I think a lot of people have kind of mistreated him a little bit. I don't want to say mistreated, but just underrated his athletic ability.
Absolutely. I think the thing with Tyler Simmons that I think he don't get enough credit for was his ability to run block. And if you could run block with Kirby, he's going to let you on the field.
Yeah.
And Tyler understands he'll be a senior. He's had 3 seasons with Jake Fromm. He's got this, repertoire. He's been through summer camps, springs, fall camp. He's been through all this, 7-on-7s with Jake Fromm. He's got that, that chemistry with him.
Right.
And if you can get the quarterback's trust, especially a quarterback like a Jake Fromm, to where he knows on 3rd and 6, Simmons is going to run a 7-yard route and he's going to catch the ball. And that's the kind of things where I can see where you're coming from. On Simmons could have that breakout season.
Yeah. Yeah, because you look through Jake Fromm's 2 seasons so far, and Jake's a guy who likes a good security blanket. He likes a dump off, He likes having that. And, any good quarterback is going to want that. You're going to want a guy who's going to be around, and he's going to get open, and he's going to work when he gets the ball. He's going to make the most of his chances. So that's a guy you can get it to when you're in trouble. He's also a guy you can hand it off to. Great blocker, like you said, Rick. And I don't see him, ending up in any kind of finalist for any kind of awards or anything like that. But I do think that he will be a very valuable piece in this offense, without a doubt.
Yeah, I kind of look at our offense now with Holloman being gone, and then you look at the players we lost to the draft at the wide receiver room. I could see our wide receivers kind of being up in New England. Everybody wants to be compared to the Patriots.
Right.
But we could be kind of that Patriots wide receiver crew where there is no one guy that's winning all these awards.
Right.
But there's 4 guys that's got really good numbers, and that's what you want. And Tyler Simmons kind of fits that mold of a New England Patriots type receiver where he is going to get open. He's going to make the smart play. That's all we need out of these. We do not need a highlight reel wide receiver. Do we have them? Yeah, I think George Pickens is that highlight reel type receiver. I think Lawrence Cager is going to have a big season. Demetrius Robertson has the ability to be a breakout, huge receiver with big time numbers. But I'm thinking that we're going to have spread it around. Eli Wolf is going to get a little love. Charlie Warner's going to get a little love. DeAndre Swift, Brian Harry, and Zamir White, we're all going to spread it around so much to where Fromm has a big season. And, okay, I think, any of these receivers could have a big year. So I agree with what Austin's saying. I can get on board with what he is saying as far as Simmons. If he thinks Simmons having a breakout year, I could see that being legitimate.
Yeah, and you talking about the Patriots kind of made a light bulb go off my head. Made me think about a guy, Malcolm Mitchell. I think if anybody remembers him from 2012 and then, and you could really remember the impact he had. And I could see Tyler Simmons, having the same kind of impact, being the same kind of player, same kind of build. Just a guy who you can get the ball, just really like a multi-tool. Like you just get him the ball, or you just get him on the field however you can, and he's going to give you 110%.
Yeah, I think that's what people, when you look at the Tyler Simmons, he's a worker. He is a hard worker, and it shows. Hard work don't show when you run down the sidelines and catch a pass. It don't show when you make a one-handed catch. That just shows you got freak ability. Hard work shows up when you hit that crackback, when you go against that inside linebacker and open up that hole. That's where you see hard work. That's where you see somebody like Tyler Simmons putting in work for 4 years, and it's showing when he hits that linebacker and Swift takes off down the sideline. Well, Austin, I know you saw it. A lot of people saw it on the social media. Colin Cowherds came out talking about UT, said that he's going to see them playing in the playoffs, winning the SEC, playing against, I don't know who else he has going in there, but he said Tennessee was going to go.
Does it matter who else he's got? I mean, this is lunacy at this point.
Oh, well, that's who Cowherds is. When he said that in 2013, when the kick six happened in the Iron Bowl, he said Gus Malzahn's going to cost Nick Saban his job, and Malzahn's never going to lose to Alabama again. That's just what he's into, that shock radio.
Right.
And he says this crap just to get listeners and to get people riled up. But it got me thinking, I don't see Tennessee competing for the East, none less for the SEC. But when you really look down at their schedule and you get to looking at it, I could see them winning 9 games. I could see them coming into the Georgia game at 4-0. They opened with Georgia State, then they got BYU and Chattanooga, all in Knoxville. Then they go down to Gainesville. I think they beat Florida.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to pencil them in at 3-1 going into this game, because I feel like they're either. I think BYU's a tricky game. I think they could drop that game, honestly, even at home. I just feel like BYU's always sneaky good, and you never know which version of them you're gonna get. And but I do see them beating Florida. I mean, and I know people are going to call me a Georgia homer and this and that, but I just see Florida taking a step back. I mean, you can't say they lose all these people coming in this 2019 class and it's not going to affect their quality depth. I mean, even if people on the message boards and stuff want to say, that guy was never going to see the field anyways or this or that, but he would have seen the field, because come week 8, week 9, when people are banged up and you're reaching into that depth, and now that depth isn't there, and it's going to affect you. And I think not only that, just bad energy comes in when a lot of people start having a mass exodus like that. So I could see Tennessee capitalizing on that, coming into this game 3-1, possibly 4-0 if they could get over that BYU hump.
I think what's going to help Tennessee the most this season, number one, you ain't heard nothing coming out of Knoxville. You ain't heard Jeremy Pruitt say anything negative or drawing any attention to him. His coaching staff is a very, very good coaching staff. Jim Chaney, say what people judging him. I wasn't a real big Chaney fan when he was at Georgia last season, but I'll say this: Jim Chaney is built to build programs up. He builds them up, then he goes somewhere else. He builds them up, then he goes somewhere else. For where Tennessee is, Jim Chaney's perfect for them. I think he's a perfect fit for what they're trying to do. Now, when they get to where they want to compete for SEC championships, Jim Chaney won't be there. But for right now, and then they got John Lilly, which we're familiar with. He was on the Rick staff. They got Kevin Scherer. They got Will Friend. They got Tracy Rocker. They're bringing in T. Martin from USC. They have a very good coaching staff. And, I don't see that in Gainesville. I don't see that in Lexington. I don't see it in Columbia, South Carolina, or Columbia, Missouri. Now, I do see South Carolina with some good coaches. Georgia's coaches, obviously, with Thomas Brown and Brian McClendon, but I wouldn't put them two coaches on the elite status to where I put Tennessee's coaching staff almost on that elite status. And that's why I could see them being 4-0 and beating a Florida. And, they might have a hiccup later in the season.
Right.
When, they got a tough stretch towards the end.
Yeah.
For them, they go to Kentucky, to Missouri, then home against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's given them issues the last few seasons. Mm-hmm. Kentucky, after 20-something years of dominating Kentucky. And then, of course, Missouri. This is a different Tennessee team. They're bringing back like 90% of their offensive production from a year ago. And Georgia's bringing back, I think it was in the 30s. Yeah. So you're looking at a team, they're bringing a lot back on offense with good coaches and experienced quarterback. Is he the best quarterback in the SEC? No. But is he awful?
No, he's pretty solid. He's solid.
He's a solid quarterback. You can put him with a solid offensive coordinator. You're going to get solid results. You're going to get elite. You're going to get off the chart results. No, you're going to get 8-9 wins, and that's where I see Tennessee. But for Colin Cowherds to say they're going to win the SEC and compete for a national championship,
that's just laughable.
Yeah, that's just asinine to believe that's going to happen.
And and it's not a knock on Tennessee. It's just
they're not there.
They're not there yet.
No, they're going to.
And not only that, you got to play Alabama every year, which is tough. And just like you just said, Vandy has slept on a lot, and I think Vandy's given Tennessee all they've wanted the past couple of years, and you can see that happening again. Derek Mason's just one of those guys. He's like a niche guy. He's going to hang around. He's going to be there, and he's going to get his 6, 7, 8 wins. And he's going to have his team ready to play. Might not be the best recruiter, but he takes the guys he's got, and he gets them all on the same page, and they all playing for Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
which is a dangerous thing.
I'm thinking for Tennessee to get into that competing against the Georgias and Alabamas, they got to get over the other humps. For Georgia, it was the Florida hump.
Right.
Before we could compete for an SEC championship, let's get over the Florida hump. Right now, Tennessee, and for people outside of the state of Tennessee, for just the, regular college football fan, listen about, the Vanderbilt Tennessee game is a whole different game. It's a different Vanderbilt that week. They got to get over that hump. They got to beat they got to beat Vanderbilt consistently, and then I think every 4 or 5 years Tennessee's going to put together a great team, and that's what Pruitt knows. He knows he ain't going to be able to build an Alabama or a Georgia or a Clemson. He's going to have to put these good teams together every 3rd, 4th, 5th year, and maybe that team could compete for an Eastern championship. But Colin Cowherds, I don't see the talent there to win the SEC. They're not going to beat a Georgia and an Alabama and do all these other things. Yeah. Could they get 9 wins? That would be a great season for Jamie Pruitt. But, I don't see him winning the SEC by no means.
No, and I could see him going 1-1 against the West. I mean, they got Bama, but then they got Mississippi State the week before that. So, and I think that's a winnable game for Tennessee, definitely. Oh, yeah. So I could see them 9 wins is that'd be great, and I think that'd build a lot of momentum for Jeremy going forward. But I do like his coaching style. He's hard-nosed, old-school guy, and I think that's the kind of guy you really needed at Tennessee. Going back to Butch Jones, I don't know if anybody besides Tennessee fans ever thought that was a good fit.
No, I mean, Butch Jones was a hopes. He was just trying to sell a bag of hope.
Yeah,
a bunch of dreams.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Pruitt said, "Put in the work.
Yeah,
give me some effort, give me some work, and he'll get the results." They beat Auburn last year.
Yeah,
I think that was a big jump. They hadn't won an SEC game in like 2 years before then, but it kind of gives this team momentum of we can go into Auburn and win. So they go into Gainesville next year. Gainesville's not what people think. The Swamp is not a big bad place. How many times have we seen Missouri go down there and mollywop them?
Yeah.
Last year Kentucky went in there and beat them. So, the Swamp's not the big, intimidating place people put it off to be.
I got a cough.
You're good. Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to be a good team, elite team, far from it.
Yeah. Well, so what you want to lock them in at, 9-3 or what?
I'd say 9-3. I say they lose 3 games, and when you consider 2 of them 3 games is Georgia and Alabama, that's going to be a pretty good year. But they could lose that third. I think their third loss is going to be between Kentucky and Missouri. One of them 2 they're going to lose, and probably the Missouri game, to be honest with you. But yeah, 9-3 would be a great year. It'd be like Florida last season when they went 9-3 in the regular season. for Tennessee to go 9-3, everybody in Knoxville would take that.
Yeah.
And as a Georgia fan, I'd tip my hat to Jeremy Pruitt and the 5 former UGA coaches he's got on his staff, and I say that's a heck of a job.
Yeah, definitely. And I could see, I'm gonna take a rain check on this because I just want to see how they play against BYU, and I feel like that's gonna give me a good feel on where the rest of their season is gonna go after that.
Yeah, well, I think it's the opposite of what you're kind of hinting around with Gainesville, is you don't hear nothing coming out of Knoxville.
Yeah.
And that can only mean good things when you have that kind of quiet of an off season. It means your guys got their nose on the grindstone and they're working. And down in Gainesville, everybody's just playing around, including the head coach. Well, you got anything else, Austin? We're going to hit this social media.
Yeah, let's just hit the social media, man. It's been a good episode. Got a lot of things coming, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, if it sounds kind of off a little bit between me and Austin, our studio, we're kind of at a different place. We're going to go with a WYBU, Channel 16 locally in Columbus. It's the CTN, the Christian Television Network. We're going to have the podcast. We're going to record on July 22nd. Hopefully we'll have more news between now and then on when it's going to be released. But our studio's gone to the TV station, and we're still going to do the podcast online. We're still going to have the YouTube channel with the video on it. And we're hopefully going to have some ancillary stuff on the YouTube channel with some other stuff from the Nothing Finer podcast. But if we sound kind of out of whack, that's why. Pretty much big things coming. It's a big opportunity for us to get the show out there, to promote Nothing Finer. For me and Austin, we've been looking for this opportunity. We're grateful to get it. And hopefully the show will get a little bit better next week. We'll be more in tune with our studio than we are this week. But with that being said, we're going to go Twitter at Nothing Finer Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/NothingFinerPod. Austin, you want to talk about YouTube a little bit?
Yeah, YouTube at Nothing Finer Pod. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give this video a like, comment, and give us any kind of suggestions or anything you guys got, any kind of feedback. That's what we're looking for. We want to know what you guys want to talk about. We're getting real close to the season. Talking season's almost over. We're going to have some real substantial things to get into, so it's looking good.
Yeah, looking good. And the website, nothingfinerpod.com. That's nothingfinerpod.com. You can email us as a comment section on there. That's a direct email. Executive producer Kyle gets the email. He'll let us know whatever we need. And, yeah, we're excited about everything coming up in the future. Austin, are you excited?
Oh, man. I'm ecstatic, man. I wouldn't call it anxious. I just call it just energized, man. I'm ready to get after it.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be it's pretty exciting time around here. We got a lot of things going on top of the show, and so we're all excited. Well, I think you talked about Tyler Simmons at the top of the show. We're going to end you with a little Scott Howard with Tyler Simmons. Austin, you got anything?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, go Dogs.
Almost to our 29-yard line. Fromm in the shotgun, takes the snap, looks to throw, looking, left side throw. He's got a man. Tyler Simmons caught on the sideline at the 50, at the 40, race to the end zone, 20, 10, they won't catch him. Touchdown, Tyler Simmons. He's in the end zone for the second.